Too much mud, sipping on James the Reaper, nigga. Scroll through pictures of myself, gotta face my demons, nigga. If no one else, I'ma do it myself, I plan to leave a nigga. Front on, I'm gon' lead on my own. Hustlin', ballin', got it right now, I'm strong.
Yo, what it do is your boy Cabbage TV, man. We back with another video. We back with another reaction. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody who's liking, who's subscribing to your boy channel. Man, y'all gotta keep going. Man, I appreciate everybody. Keep going, because it motivated me to keep dropping these videos for y'all. But we gonna keep doing that no matter what. So like I said, man, you new to the channel, man, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And today's video is titled NBA Legend Reveal Their Pick Between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Y'all already know how he is with Larry Bird over here. We finna get into it in this video. Hey, I already got another video uploading for y'all right now as we speak too. Got another one uploading right now. But yeah, man, we finna get into this video. And let's go, man.
Is Mr. Magic Johnson, your friend, versus Mr. Larry Bird simply the best player rivalry of all time?
I think so. You take a look at both of these franchises. When Larry got obviously drafted by Boston, rejuvenized that Celtic-Laker rivalry because Magic's here, along with Cap. And those two guys were just totally different players from totally different spectrums of the world, basically, and they just had a different style, which I thought was the thing that was the most compelling, is that everybody wanted to see us play them because they were the hard-nosed, tough East Coast type team that used the pass to kind of run their fast break, and we were the Showtime, tuxedo wearing, just run up and down. It was just two different styles. So I thought it was interesting that you had Magic against Bird, because really they never really guarded each other, much, but just the fact that they were on the court was a rivalry because they wanted to beat each other so bad.
Okay, now I'm gonna give you a better one. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Wow. Magic's got a post-up game. Larry had a good post-up game, too. But Larry was an outside step-back shooter. He had a great shot. I think I'd probably go with Larry. He's probably the better one.
Is that what you wanted to hear?
What did I say? I knew Larry.
For me, it's the fact of what you guys just brought up. Who wants to play with other people on the team? And when I think of Magic Johnson, if I'm starting my team with the point guard that sat in the captain's chair and played center in every position in the game in the championship, there's no way I'm going against Magic. I have help defenders that can probably help. You look at all these guys are great, but you look at the first few years of all these guys, they all had great Hall of Famers, and maybe Mike didn't have that in the beginning, but to me, the one thing is Magic, being the leader that he is. One thing that is, maybe it is up for question, but Magic to me in the history of the game is one of the best leaders from what you've seen in his getting people energized, getting the crowd energized, the style of play. You ever noticed when they scored how fast Magic Johnson got the ball up to half court? Those are Showtime things, but you're setting up the play with 20 seconds on the clock, and just him getting everybody involved, knowing what buttons to push. And I don't know if anybody had his intangibles.
Go back to the Dream Team, and it felt like there was tangible moments where Bird and Magic and everybody else realized that all of a sudden Mike was the new sheriff in town, and that there was almost this begrudging handoff of that guy's the best player in the world.
Well, they weren't at the same age. Jordan was more in his prime, although he's always in his prime. And I shouldn't even said that. He was Jordan then, and where Larry really had a lot of back problems then, and Magic had been all out for a year. Not that they were at his level at that time. If they were in their prime, all three of them, I'd take those three guys to start any team.
If you could pick one of those three, that one would go to Duke when you were there.
No, I can't pick one. I can't pick one. I love all three of those guys.
I spent the last couple of days with Magic Johnson shooting the Capital One commercials. And every time I see him, I tell him thank you, because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird are the two most important figures in NBA history.
I agree.
What people don't understand, to answer your question, people look at this thing now where guys are making $30, $40, $50 million. When I came in, David Stern's first year, the average salary was $200,000. Magic and Bird, those guys changed the entire trajectory of the NBA and made it what it is today. Because Magic, and I told him this story, I said, and I'm playing with Dr. J. and Moses. I remember the first time Magic, when he made $1 million, we were going around high-fiving each other.
For me, it would have to be Magic Johnson, because if you look at the traditional point guard, they've always been not small, but smaller. Magic was the first oversized guy that excelled at being a point guard. He actually gave Chris and myself the confidence to be able to get the ball, take it off the glass, and go all the way. You know, Mike, best player on the planet, never really had a chance to play against Larry Bird, but I actually used to hate Larry Bird. Hated him.
Why?
I mean, because, well, not hate him, I was sort of like, jealous of him, because he was a regular guy that did everything. He shouted in your face, he had to fade away. One time, I was watching a game, they was playing somebody, and I was betting this guy, and he was falling out of bounds, and he shot that thing over the backboard, and it went in. And I was like, I thought most of what he did was luck, but as I, got older and kept watching, I just knew that it was skill. And, for him to even have his name mentioned in this category with Magic and Michael Jordan just shows how great of a player he was.
Just to talk about Larry, for me to see the guy who can shoot the basketball, but then also be able to change his game up, to do whatever he had to do to win. Kind of like Magic, kind of like Michael, but, I was impressed for a guy with his athletic ability, which was not a lot, to be able to rebound the basketball, to really take the fundamentals of the game and take it to another level. I mean, everything fundamentally, if you watch Larry Bird, he did at a top level. I mean, but if I had to pick, because I started my team always with a center and a point guard. So nothing taking nothing away from Michael. We all know he's the greatest player, but if I'm gonna start my guy with a team with a point guard or a center, I have to go with Magic Johnson, because now I can plug any 2, 3, 4, 5 with a Magic Johnson and we'll have a chance to win.
And if I said you could buy stock in Magic or buy stock in Larry?
At the time, because I learned to shoot the jump shot, I would have said Larry.
Who had a better NBA career?
Man, that's neck and neck, man. Both of them, I think.
They both bowed out early.
They both bowed out early, injuries. I don't know the statistics and all that stuff. They were both, it's kind of a tie. They were both sick, but for me, in college, because the blonde hair and literally Larry got me from shooting here to here. Literally, seriously, when I saw him play, and this was at the time where you didn't watch, there was no replay. I was 9. So that game came on and it was etched in my memory. Those semifinal games in college came on, it was etched in my memory. That changed my life. But the minute Larry Bird, and I swear, my father is not one of these crazy New Yorkers who bred me to hate the Celtics. We never discussed it. It was in my blood. When he put that green uniform on, it was like God spoke to me and said, that's not a good person anymore. I swear to God, it's not like I was bred you're a New Yorker, we hate it's like when I saw him in that uniform for the Celtics, there was no more. And I hated Larry Bird.
Plenty to discuss, and in fact, in their prime, Bird wins the argument. Over their careers, Magic probably edges them out. You talk about the scorer getting it over the assist guy. That's for the most part true, but Bird was also a guy who made the entire group function better. As I said, from 29 wins to 6.
I said that before.
61 wins in one season. Bird was a brilliant passer. Bird was a great rebounder. Bird could put the ball in the bucket.
I'm gonna drop the mic, KB.
Bird was a better Bird was a better defender than Magic Johnson. People forget now because Magic outlasted him and won MVPs when Bird was slowing down. But at their best, Bird consistently was considered the better player.
Listen, check this out. We got Bird. Bird, nothing but love and respect. One of the great ones. But you know what? In the National Basketball Association, you had a lot of white dudes who came before Bird, who, by the way, were in Boston, that achieved the Kuzis, the Havliceks of the world, and others. When Magic came on the scene, he was one of a kind. 6'9", point guard, the smile, literally ingratiate himself into every household in America.
Birdman White got to do with it. His game was unique.
Come on.
But
Bird's game?
Aside, his game, we're talking about his game. Yeah,
Bird's game was not unique. It was excellent, but it wasn't unique.
I remember the game he played against the Lakers the first year that the Celtics won the World Championship with him on the team. He was ridiculous. He came in here. Remember, our sportscaster played the Superman theme when he was talking about him that night after the game because he did everything. Points, rebounds, assists, just steals, you name it. Larry has such a great mind for the game and a great touch. I had a lot of respect for him as a competitor.
I think Bird and Magic saved the league, and I think the league took off when the Detroit Pistons showed up on the scene. I think Bird and Magic, what the NBA was coming out of in the 70s and how the United States was. I mean, we have to talk about that now. How the United States was for black men in the 70s, and then Bird and Magic being on the stage in the early 80s. coming out of college and then, you know, playing that, you know, that game again. Magic coming to LA, Bird going to Boston. You know, they walked into culture. They walked into a foundation. They walked into a way of being. They walked into winning.
What were some similarities between those two guys just from playing with and playing against?
Well, I think the similarities were their leadership skills. They both made guys better. They both cared about nothing but winning. You know, they didn't care about individual stats and MVP trophies and none of that stuff. They cared about winning. They both had incredible basketball IQs. They both were unbelievable on the court as far as seeing the game and making passes that you just didn't see. You know, neither one could jump very high. You know, I mean, those are probably the similarities. I mean, they both were 6'9", but they were both the ultimate competitor. You know, Larry did a little bit more talking than Magic. Magic would talk only when you know, really got up into him and started messing with him. Then he would be like, oh, okay, you know, but Larry was talking from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. He didn't care. But I think those similarities are the reason why those two guys were so competitive.
Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson, who had...
Whoa, what's going on? Well, we couldn't hear, so I don't know. If you enjoyed that video, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, comment what video y'all want to see next, and we will react to that, man. I appreciate everybody for watching this video. I appreciate everybody for just everything I have done right now. I appreciate everybody. See y'all next video, man. I'm gone.